Howdy there, folks. Welcome into today's video. Several different subjects to speak about in this one here today. The rundown is as follows. First off here, talk about some stocks that are crashing. Very important companies that are showing no signs of bottoming. They just keep going down and down and down pretty much day after day after day, including some massive moves down here today that are companies that you really look at to see how the belief is of the overall economy, okay? And so very important stocks we'll speak about there, okay? Second subject we'll speak about here today is major new layoffs that have been announced from several different companies. I might have to start a weekly segment just covering all the different companies that have layoffs going on right now. Okay. Third subject we'll speak about in today's video is some new data around Tesla that it's going to absolutely shock a lot of folks out there when I show you this data in these charts in this one. That's pretty mind-blowing stuff. Okay. Fourth thing we'll talk about is one stock that I think has taught everybody a huge lesson out there that I think we can always keep in the back of our minds as we go into future months and future years into the future. And then last subject we'll speak about in this video here today is SoFi. Saw a video recently around SoFi being a millionaire maker stock, and I want to speak about that one. Do I kind of view it as a similar type stock, or do I have a little different belief there? And so yeah, busy video. Appreciate everybody being here. Thanks for being subscribed. I appreciate everybody as always. If you're looking to apply to try to join my private stock group, the private wealth group, that will be the pinned comment down there. Once you join us in there, we will send you one of these steel membership cards in the mail to your house, and then once you hit 6 figures in the market or more, we'll send you one of these diamond awards here, and once you hit 7 figures plus in your portfolio, then you go into the 7-figure Hall of Fame, which we have I think it's over 100 members all time in the 7-figure Hall of Fame. So yeah, that will be pinned comment down there if you're looking to apply and join us in there. Alrighty guys, so let's get straight into this. URI, okay, United Rentals, very important company when it comes to the construction industry, and usually a company that if there's a lot of belief that the economy is going to get better, if things are going to get better overall, United Rentals is going to usually do very well, okay? But this stock's collapsing, and it's showing, honestly, no signs of a bottom right now. Stock was down huge again here today, like 8% move. This stock is down 25% plus in a month, okay? In a month. 25% plus down. This stock is just, like I said, it's showing no signs of bottom. It just goes lower and lower and lower, okay? And another company, look at Caterpillar. Caterpillar is now down about 15% in the past month. It was down another 5% here today for Caterpillar. Obviously, massive construction company, right? Now, when I see moves like that, okay, one is there's definitely a belief that construction industry and the economy overall is going to continue to slow, okay? But you ask me, why am I not going out there and buying United Rentals? Why am I not going out there and buying a Caterpillar or any of these companies that are kind of in that industry, okay? Here's the reason. The bottom line is those stocks are still not cheap, okay? If we're in a good economy, I still expect those stocks to actually underperform the market based upon current pricing. And if the economy gets bad over this next year, and I'm really talking about the construction industry, big projects, things like that, then those stocks still have another 20 to 40% to fall from here, if that was a scenario. So I'm like, okay, if construction industry stays really strong, there's limited upside there. There might be some upside, but it's limited, especially compared to many other stocks you can get out there. And if the economy gets rough, then those ones have 20 to 40% more to fall from here. And so I'm like, what does it make? It doesn't really make sense for me to jump into any of those sorts of companies right now, okay? Maybe in 6 months from now, maybe in a year from now, it could be a different situation, right? And it's not just those. You look at something like Wells Fargo, down 21%. This is not a regional bank, right? There's no fear about systemic problems there. When you see a stock like this down 21% plus in a month, it basically shows you that there's fear about the overall economy out there, right? KRE, this is the regional bank index, right? And I mean, this baby's down almost 30% in the past month, 30%. It just goes to show you about the worries overall about the banking system, about the economy, and those sorts of things, right? Bank of America, 18% down in a month. For Bank of America, it's a massive move down, right? A massive move for a stock like that. And then you even look at something like General Motors, right? If there's worries about the economy and kind of where it's headed over this next 6 to 12 months, stocks like General Motors do bad. And this stock is down almost 13% in the past month. Now, on top of that, when it comes to General Motors, check this out here, okay? GM says 5,000 white-collar workers are going to depart the company through buyouts. So basically, what a lot of these companies are doing is instead of just like firing people, laying off, they're doing these buyout programs. And this is something you actually saw in the Great Financial Crisis as well. And so this is something you're going to continue to see this year in 2023, is companies doing these different buyout programs. And it just goes to show you that companies are leaning up, man. They're leaning up their organizations. But that's just the tip of the iceberg as you get into this layoff stuff. McDonald's is going to close their U.S. offices as it prepares to inform workers of layoffs, which is an interesting strategy I see out there. Now, the fascinating thing about this, right, is, if you saw companies that had bad stock prices, their business was getting hurt significantly, right, and their stock prices were falling 30, 40, 50, 60, 70%. A lot of those companies that laid off employees over the past, I would say, 6 to 9 months. You understand it, right? Because like your stock price is getting killed. Wall Street, your investors are telling you, you better do something. You better cut employees. You better make some moves here, right? But wait till I show you McDonald's stock chart. You're going to be like, what? This employee is doing major cuts, okay? This is absolutely one of the most shocking stock charts you're going to see, okay? Check this out. Look at this baby. It's at an all-time high. McDonald's stock is at an all-time high, and they're still doing layoffs, okay? They're still going to do layoffs with the stock at an all-time high right now. That goes to show you that companies are using 2023 as a year to lean up their organizations regardless of how their stock price is done. Regardless. It doesn't matter. And the bottom line is, for big corporations, they only get these opportunities to do these big layoffs, corporate cuts, things like that, really maybe once every 5 to 15 years. And so when you get one of those opportunities where you can cut employees and no one's going to ask questions about it, you've got to take advantage of that. And it really started in 2022 with a lot of the tech companies, right? But it's followed through now with a lot of these other random big companies now at this point in time. And so as in McDonald's, like, this is your one opportunity. You might not get another year to have big layoffs like this for another 5, 10, or 15 years. And so you've got to take advantage of that, because when times are great, when most other companies are hiring, if you're firing, it makes your company look like you're in a bad spot. You're doing a bad job running your company. But right now, for this year, you cut employees, no one asks questions, and everybody claps for you. Everybody claps for you. I can tell you that's not the situation when everybody's out there hiring and you have all those sorts of moves out there. So it's a really fascinating time going on out there in kind of the workforce area right now, right? Now, in terms of tech layoffs, we're actually seeing a drop-off in terms of how many employees are being laid off and how many companies are laying off. We've seen it where several consecutive months now at this point in time, you have the amount of companies doing layoffs and the amount of workers being laid off starting to drop. Okay, now don't pay attention to December, because all companies try not to lay off in December because it's Christmas time, like bad vibes, like they try not to do that, okay? So look at November, January, February, March, right? Every single month, so 4 months in a row now, you've had the amount of employees laid off, cut, and the amount of companies doing layoffs, cut, for 4 months in a row now at this point in time, if you X out December, which once again, no one wants to cut. You have to be in a really bad place to cut employees in December. That's like the 1 month you can't do it, essentially, okay? And so that just goes to show you that tech really got out in front of this, and you're seeing all these other random companies doing layoffs now at this point in time, McDonald's and all these other companies, right, GM, and those companies are the ones that are cutting in 2023. Tech was really heavy in 2022, right, and into obviously January. And so don't be surprised if, in terms of tech layoffs, it continues to kind of dwindle over this next, I would call it 6 to 9 months. You're going to continue to see some companies lay off in tech, but it's just going to be less and less and less, in my opinion, okay? Now, let's talk about big dog, Apple. The one company that is seen as like, wow, are they ever going to cut employees, okay? Well, now we're hearing some things. Apple to cut jobs in some corporate retail teams in first known layoffs, okay? Now, here's what I'm hearing out of Apple, okay? From what I'm hearing out of Apple, that culture is the most pressure cooker culture out there in Apple probably since Steve Jobs came back to the company. It is like, it's tough right now from my understanding inside Apple corporate world. And I can tell you, like, Apple's like in a position right now where they're like, give me any reason to cut you right now, okay? And we're going to make it happen. That's the situation in Apple. It is not healthy at all. It is a pressure cooker inside Apple right now. And so don't be surprised if you hear of more cuts from Apple over this next 6 months or so. And like I said, Apple's numbers don't have to tank for them to have reason. Every other big tech company out there has announced layoffs of 10,000, 15,000, 20,000, whatever amount of workers. So if Apple comes in with and announces they're going to cut 5,000, 10,000 jobs, like, no one's going to second guess that, even if Apple numbers aren't significantly hit this year, right? No different than McDonald's stocks at an all-time high, and no one's second guessing them for doing a big cut of corporate employees here coming up soon, right? And so there's just some food for thought in regards to that. This company, right, Highland Software just announced on Monday it's going to lay off 1,000 employees. That's 20% of its overall workforce. And this is a company that's oh my gosh, did I forget how to pronounce Ohio? In the Ohio area, okay? And the reason I just thought that was important is you got to understand, like, for a company like this in Ohio, I can guarantee you those are really good, high-paying jobs. And like, where do those 1,000 employees go in Ohio? If this happens in Silicon Valley, then people say, oh, there's just so many tech companies, you can just get a job somewhere else. I don't even know if that's really true right now. I'll be completely honest about that. But what about when you lose your job in Ohio and you had a good job making, $100K a year, $150K a year? Is there just another easy job to get right now in Ohio that's going to pay you $100,000, $150,000, $200,000 a year, like you might have been making at this Highland company? I don't know about that, okay? And so that's kind of the scary part of the jobs market right now, and kind of why we're in for, let's just call it a softer economy for at least the next year, right? And it doesn't mean it's a crashing economy. It just means a softer economy, because at the end of the day, 1,000 employees that had good jobs is 1,000 employees, okay? And yeah, there's it's not easy to get those sorts of jobs just anywhere, especially in a market like Ohio, right? Walmart's going to lay off about 2,000 warehouse workers. Now, when you see a cut like this, thing to understand about warehouse workers, like, there's plenty of opportunities. Those are usually lower paying jobs. There's plenty of opportunities for lower paying jobs. I mean, you can go about anywhere. I was in, Arizona recently. I mean, the amount of signs I saw of just, kind of base level jobs, let's call it, that pay $15 to $20 an hour, and places are hiring is a phenomenal, ridiculous amount right now. And so just keep in mind, with this sort of cut, it's not nearly as serious as like that Highland company that's cutting 1,000 corporate jobs, okay? Or GM, for instance, General Motors, that's cutting 5,000 corporate jobs. Those are much more serious than let's call it a move like that, okay? So do keep that in mind. I think that's important for everybody to understand in regards to that, okay? Tesla, my Tesla. Check this out. Incredible, okay? So all the numbers are finalized now at this point in time. This is sales of passenger electric vehicles in the United States in the first quarter of 2023. Look at Tesla, 161,000. The next closest is GM at 20,000. The next closest after that is Hyundai and Kia. And they got to combine them together, I guess, okay, at less than 15,000, Volkswagen at 14,000, and Ford at almost 11,000, okay? Now, the reason this is so important is if we back up 5 years ago, okay, and as somebody that's been in this stock for a long, long time and been able to prosper with this company, right, I've listened to countless folks over the years go say, competition's coming, competition's coming, competition's coming. And I remember listening to these folks in 2017, 18, 19, saying that, in 2021, 2022, Tesla's going to have a problem. They're going to have massive competition. Here we are in 2023, and Tesla's just absolutely wrecking the competition. And it's not even a close race. Tesla's like so far in front of the competition. It's like they're so far behind. The only question is for the EV market is who's fighting for second place. That's the only question, folks, okay? Who's going to get second place? That's the race to watch, okay? I was at a track meet this past weekend, right? And, watching a bunch of kids race, and some races are just like, some kids just so much faster in the competition. It's like, oh my gosh, they're just blistering the field. It's not even close, right? So sometimes you want to look, if you want to see a close race, like who's going to win, look for who's going to get second or third place, okay? Because sometimes that's where the race is at. So if you want to watch and pay attention to who's going to get second and third place, that's where the competition is. If you think you're going to beat Tesla, you have no chance, okay? They're so far out in front, it's disgusting now at this point in time. And this is the time period when they said the competition was coming. I have news for all those folks that said that. The competition never came. They tried to, but they just they just weren't even competition, okay? That's the bottom line in regards to that. The numbers, the data, as I always say, okay, men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. And goodness, those are some numbers there, okay? AMC stock. This stock is down to the 23% here today. It's back in the $3 range now at this point in time, okay? I think AMC is just a good example for us. All of us investors, right? Because the story about AMC was, oh, you know, we're going to get the short sellers, we're going to make so much money off this and all that stuff, right? And you see, obviously, what's happened with this company. Like almost everybody that's ever been in the stock got absolutely obliterated, unless it's from the short side, right? I mean, this was a stock that's down, 90+% from the highs now at this point in time, right? And down 72% just in the past year. And I think it's important for all of us just to remember, stick to the fundamentals of this game. If you're going to try to out-manipulate Wall Street, that's like saying you're going to beat LeBron James at a game of one-on-one basketball, okay? It's not going to happen. You're going to get your head dunked on. They're the masters of manipulation. If you think you're going to out-manipulate the manipulators, believe me, you're going to get wrecked, okay? And so just keep in mind, you've got to invest from the fundamental side with companies. And what I always saw as a problem with AMC is no one invested in that company from the fundamental side. No one was like, oh, theaters are going to be so great. Theaters are going to be packed again, you know, and it's going to be just great, and it's such a great business model. And no one was investing from the fundamental side. They're investing from the short squeeze side and all these technicals and all this BS, okay? And look what they got for it. Absolutely nothing, okay? And so at the end of the day, there's a lot of risks, you know, we got to stay away from in the market. Unprofitable companies is definitely a problem, and that's a problem that AMC's had in the past. But also, if you think you're going to out-manipulate the manipulators, I just tell you you're in to get your head dunked on, okay? It's not going to happen. The stock market can be a tough enough game. Don't make it tougher on yourself by thinking you're going to beat Wall Street, because I can tell you, yeah, those guys, the only way you can beat Wall Street is be ahead of them. That's the only way you can beat Wall Street. Be ahead of those guys and gals, okay? And so that means seeing an opportunity in the market before they see an opportunity, before they pile in their money, okay? That's the only way you can beat Wall Street. Outside of that scenario where you're ahead of the game, yeah, you're not going to beat those guys, okay? That's all I can say about that. They have the whole system on lockdown. Just understand that, okay? SoFi stock, they say it's the millionaire maker stock, okay? Now, in regards to SoFi, obviously the thing that's interesting about SoFi and their business model is it seems like they want to be everything financial product related, okay? And one side that's exciting because it's like, oh my gosh, they have so many different products and services they offer. They have so many different opportunities, and their TAM is exponential because of that, right? So it's exciting. But at the end of the day, I also think about it as, well, are you really good at a few areas, right? Because it's no different than like Apple. And Steve Jobs' approach always with Apple was we could do a few things great, or we could do a lot of things okay, right? So would you rather be great at a few products or have a million different products and be, let's call it okay or bad at those, right? And so with SoFi, I do wonder if they're going to have that issue where they're getting let's just call it too many different products, too many all over the place, because they want to be everything finance related for everybody now at this point in time. Because I mean, when literally you just look at how many products SoFi has, it's off the charts ridiculous now at this point in time, right? So stock's been hit over the past year. It's down about 39-40% roughly, which is in line, I think, with a lot of these different companies that kind of were those retail trader investor type stocks. Now, there's some good and some bad in regards to SoFi, okay? Two really good things and two really bad things, okay? The first is SoFi has shown us so far nothing but losses, right? Losses, 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 losses. And no one wants to be in any sort of stock that's a money loser right now. I mean, look at just about every single stock in the world that's a money loser, and look where their stock prices is. I mean, almost all of them are down 50, 60, 70, 80% from 2021. I mean, it's ridiculous, right? And so that's a problem with SoFi, and it's like, when are they going to make money? That's a big question. When are they going to make money? And when you're a company that just year after year after year loses money, people start to give up on your story and just think you're going to be a money loser forever. So that's a big worry and something I'm concerned with SoFi. Now, something great that I've seen with SoFi, check this out. This is very important, okay? 5 straight quarters of major improvement in their net loss, okay? So if we go back here, lost 121 million, then 120 million, then 106 million, then 84 million, then 50 million. So the bad news is it's still losses, but they're getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Now I can tell you, if they keep up this trajectory they're on, at some point next year, they could actually put up a profitable quarter, which would be shocking. And it's looking like 2024 could definitely be a year where they put up some profitable quarters. I don't know if it's a profitable year for them in 2024, but this trajectory has to continue on, right? They all of a sudden got to lose maybe 40 million or 30 million, then 20 million, then 10 million, then around break even, and then hopefully a money-making quarter after that, right? So that's really good news, and that's something positive I like to see in a company that is a money loser, that progress is being made quarter after quarter after quarter to get to that profitability, right? Another great thing for SoFi is look at their quarterly revenue. I just pulled up their past, 8 quarters or so here, okay? Every quarter is a record quarter. Every quarter, $231 million of revenue, $259, $293, $304 million, $354, $389, $464 million of revenue, and $556 million of revenue. That's impressive. I can tell you there aren't many companies out there that quarter in and quarter out, they put up record after record after record after record, even on a sequential basis like that. It's one thing to do it year over year, but on a sequential basis every single quarter, that's impressive, okay? So I got to say from that perspective, SoFi, and another positive thing I'll mention that I didn't put here, okay, is I got to say, I've listened to SoFi's conference calls in the past and have been impressed. And I also have been impressed with, honestly, the folks that are using SoFi's product that are a lot of higher income folks, and a lot of folks that honestly, let's call it higher credit scores as well. It's actually really, really impressive. It's not like it's just a bunch of people that are, can't afford anything or something like that, right? Or a bunch of folks that are in a bad financial situation. Now, there's more bad to come with this SoFi story, okay? And that's really around valuation. Because at the end of the day, you have to look at a company like SoFi, and you have to say, is this company, should they be valued as a tech company, or should they be valued more as a bank, right? Because when you start to look at SoFi's business model, and you start to look at what SoFi does, I mean, I'll be honest, it starts to feel much more like a bank than anything else, right? And I'm with several different financial institutions that are more traditional financial institutions, and they feel a little similar to SoFi, right? It's just SoFi's kind of pitched a different way. And so in the financial space, if you're going to be lumped in with the banks, you're going to have a pretty low valuation on yourself. Most of those companies trade at forward Ps and trailing 12-month Ps in the 10 range, right? And so with SoFi, even if they're faster growing, what can they command? A 20 PE, 30 PE? That's if they're way outstripping the growth of the other finance-related companies, the more traditional ones. But the bottom line is you can't really slap huge valuations on it because they're going to kind of overall time get lumped in with banking, okay? And so that's the trouble for something like a SoFi, is really on the valuation front as well. And so overall, when it comes to SoFi, my opinion here is it definitely has potential, and it has potential to be in my opinion, a pretty big financial related company, like a major player, I call it. I don't really consider them a major player now, but 5 years out, I think they could definitely be a major player. But the problem is right now, there's a million stocks that are unprofitable companies that are out there as opportunities, and it's like, do you want to put your money in SoFi? Okay, so it's a stock I'm going to continue to work on, kind of behind the scenes here, and see what I can find and see what the opportunity is. Now, I know right now there's an interesting time period. There's a lot of scarcity mentality going on out there and whatnot. I put together a video recently, and I recorded a few nights ago, that kind of gets into more abundance mindset and how to think bigger, which I think there's a big problem right now where a lot of people are thinking small. So if you want that video, it's absolutely free to watch it. Send me a DM on Instagram that you're interested. You can say something like abundance video, something like that, and I can send that over to you guys if you're interested in something like that. Just hit me up on IG and I'll send that over. So appreciate everybody joining me as always. Much love. Thanks for being here. If you're looking to apply to join my private stock group, the private wealth group, that'll be the pinned comment down there. And once again, if you want that video, just send me a DM on Instagram and let me know, and I can send that over. Much love and have a great day.